Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, you can never truly kill the spirit of a performer, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals in this audio-only format to discuss current projects in the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I will assume that you do because you're listening right now. And if you are, please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel, so give us a like and subscribe there as well. We'd really appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. Quite frankly, we're at too many places. We're at, X, Twitter, Letterboxd, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the movie image at large. Because guess what? We love to watch it and write about it and talk about it. We love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. On this very special episode, we're diving headfirst into a very special film. At least I thought so. It's in competition now at CPH Docs. It's a beautiful documentary called Birita from director Búi Dam, who is a director. He's a musician. He's an actor who grew up in the Faroe Islands in a family of artists, and he studied theater at the Danish National School of Performing Arts and the whole 9 yards. But this isn't about him. This is about his mother, who is probably one of the more famous actors sort of in that country, in that region. And she's suffering with Alzheimer's. But he has just cast her in the lead role of their new staging of Shakespeare's King Lear. And it's difficult. I mean, his mother can't really speak, but he's doing this in honoring his mother and really sort of putting forward this idea that the spirit of the performer never really dies. And it's so evident in this film. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of work that is doing its festival run now. It's having its world premiere tonight. But it'll be around at various festivals across the land. Hopefully maybe here in Toronto too, but fingers crossed. But we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with the director, Búi Dam, to talk about the challenge of making this movie, because it's hard to be a subject and dealing with your mother who has Alzheimer's and direct a film and also have a baby, which he does in this film, all at the same time. And it's really a beautiful thing to watch. But like I said, Birita is having its world premiere tonight at CPH Docs in competition. And I'm sure it will be doing the festival circuit pretty broadly in a film festival near you. But first, enjoy our talk with Búi, because it's a darn good one. Búi, obviously, first off, just thank you so much for the time. And I mean, congratulations on the film. I got to watch it last night. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I mean, I guess the first question is because obviously, mounting the show, having your mother in it, obviously is a challenge in and of itself. Like, what made you want to pick up the camera on top of all that to document all this?
That's an excellent question. I think the main reason was that I thought that we had a story to share with the world. Of course, we had my mother had Alzheimer's for 11 years or so at that point, and the way that my father had cared for her and her persona and her energy and positivity was something I thought the world should know about. And also, my mother, she was not only an actress but also an activist, feminist and LGBTQ plus worker. So I thought of this as an extension of that, her work or giving her a voice, because I think that there are things that we can do as societies better for people with Alzheimer's and dementia.
For sure, 100%. And I mean, in watching it, I could not help get the sense that this is really a beautiful kind of mediation and sort of examination of what it means to be a performer. Because I mean, like you said, even in her state, like you can't sort of get the performer out of her DNA, and it is so obvious. And I mean, it's obviously, while there's a couple of sad moments, it's ultimately quite joyous.
Yeah, glad to hear that. Yeah.
And I mean, for you, how was it to sort of, I guess, really have not just go through that with her, but also for yourself and the other actors involved to really sort of have this sort of it almost feels like it's an exploration of the self, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah. I mean, the process affected us all profoundly, absolutely, everyone involved. People who were involved, of course, me, my father and me were very close to my mother, but the actors that were involved, they were also had been very close to my mother, but hadn't worked with her, of course, for 10, 11 years. So for them, it was also, emotionally a very profound experience going through that. And of course, what we didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea from the beginning, as you see in the film, I didn't know if she would be able to maybe say some lines, or if she would be able to. So we were all the time, didn't know what was going to happen. Um, but as we, worked and we got deeper into, of course, the play and on stage, it was very clear that my mother knew what we were doing. And also, not only did we create a space for her, but she was contributing a lot to the process. So, she didn't have words, but she had emotions and she had her body, and she was expressing a lot in the process, and also just the space that she created with her focus sort of became very or it sort of transformed everyone involved, because again she was a very joyous person and she was kind of just spreading the joy of performance and being on stage to everybody. So it made everybody very humble, I think, and I have to say that I've seen all of these actors perform before. I've never seen them perform this well before. And I think one of the reasons was the space that she created, on stage, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And I mean, it adds, and it kind of dovetails into my next question because it really feels like using King Lear was really a smart sort of piece to center this around. Like, I'm kind of curious from your perspective on why you chose Shakespeare and particularly King Lear to sort of frame this experiment around.
Yeah. I mean, of course, King Lear is my favorite play of all time. So that was one of the reasons. But the other reason was, of course, that it's a play that is dealing with, similar themes. And Lear, there was a parallel, a definite parallel between my mother and Lear in many ways. But there's also a very clear parallel between my mother and Cordelia. So this state of that my mother is in has, as I said, she creates a space, a very joyous space, and a kind space, if you could say that. And that is where Cordelia comes in. My mother, dear person, my mother is her past, is who she was. She was, the diva of the Faroe Islands, and all these actors looked up to her. And for them to see her, start to lose her memory and everything was, of course, a very powerful thing to happen for all of them. She had been their teacher, Um, so I think that was one of the reasons. But another reason, a third reason that I wanted to pick Lear is that it's a very dramatic and violent, and yeah, it's just a huge play, And I think it's really important that we don't overprotect people who
Yeah,
have dementia. So
right,
I wanted to bring her into a dramatic setting. I didn't want to make a sentimental play about,
right.
I wanted her to be there on stage with all the drama, with love, killing and sex and everything on stage. That's what she, had been working with her entire life. I didn't want to spare her, to be honest. Of course,
Oh
we
no,
were
and that
taking,
no, and that's yeah. And I
yeah,
think that's what makes it really lovely. And it's
yeah,
one of those things where, I mean, I'm kind of curious because obviously you've got experience doing stage work, screen work, but this is the first time you've picked up the camera to direct, particularly as a feature and as a documentarian. And I mean,
yeah.
I'm kind of curious, how did you sort of balance the temptation to direct versus the temptation as a documentarian to probably need to stay out of the way? Because
Yeah,
I
that's a
found
good.
you've navigated that quite well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, to be honest, I had a really good team. So the cinematographer, Franklin Senfor Henriksen, is an amazing cinematographer. He not only, makes amazing images, but he's also, he sees the stories, and his intuition in terms of how we're telling the story is very, very clear. Of course, when we were in the midst of doing the play, I was basically not behind the camera. I was
Yeah.
in doing the play, but we would have dialogues afterwards, and then I would just give him the reins basically, and he also had an assistant with him. So it had a lot to do with the dialogue after and before they were shooting. What did we want and what were we looking for? But to be honest, it was a really, really chaotic experience with the shooting and everything because
Well, because I mean, on top of all that, you were having a child.
exactly, and I was having a child, and I mean, it's such an intense, everything is, yeah. So I think it was again. I'll come back to intuition and just knowing that we had a good story, and I think we didn't need to force anything because with my mother going on stage again, I knew we had a really good story, and we just needed to let it take over, sort of. So I think it was trust in the creative process, I think, because my hands were very, very full, and there are many things I can't even remember how or what we did, you know. It was fun.
How do you think this will translate as more and more people see it? Because I mean, obviously, I mean, I don't speak the language, but I did understand sort of the emotion and the intent of the performer. And really, to me, at the end of the day, this is a love letter to the art of performance and
Yeah.
sort of the universality of that. Like, I'm kind of curious, how do you hope audiences kind of interpret what you've done here?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I love what you're saying, that it is about performing, and that is what my mother represents, and also for myself as well, what is performing. Um, I think I think what I hope the audience will see is that performance is about authenticity, because that is the experience we went through with doing this. And that's what I love about documentaries, of course, is that is if it's a good documentary, of course, is the authenticity of the emotions and everything that is comes across. And working with my mother, creating this space for her, made all the other actors into better actors because she was so authentic. She was so real. And if she left the room, the actors would again start to be sloppy or talk in funny voices. But as soon as she was there, there was just this immense focus in the room. So I think that's what I hope kind of this film and its entirety as well brings forward, is like the good acting. Yeah, good acting basically.
Well, and I mean, it does speak to just sort of the realities of, I mean, obviously this horrible, horrible disease, but it can't take that from her. It can't take
No,
that art of performance from her. No matter how hard it tries, it's seeped into her DNA, and that is a beautiful thing to celebrate.
exactly. Thank you. Yes, you said it much better. I totally agree.
But my
Uh,
friend, honestly, just congrats on the work, and I mean, good luck with
thank,
the premieres and doing the festival circuit. But just thank you again for the time today. Really appreciate this, and congrats on a wonderful piece of work.
thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, man.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD Blu ray rental
or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.